What if I told you that the most dangerous form of manipulation isn't a lie, but a question? And that someone in your life right now might be using one of 5 specific questions to control you without you even realizing it. That feeling in your gut that something is wrong isn't just a feeling, it's a warning signal. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what it's warning you about. Have you ever been in a conversation that felt less like a chat and more like a psychological chess match you didn't sign up for? You know the feeling. On the surface, everything seems normal. They're smiling, the words are pleasant, but your internal alarm system is blaring, just on silent mode. Your gut is telling you something is fundamentally wrong here. That feeling isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. You've likely just encountered someone who has mastered the dark art of using questions not as tools for connection, but as weapons for control. Welcome to the hidden battlefield of human nature. I'm not talking about the occasional white lie people tell to spare someone's feelings. I'm talking about professional-level manipulators, the kind that can gaslight you so effectively you start questioning your own memories. And their most powerful weapon isn't a statement, it's a question. They use questions that sound innocent, but are actually carefully crafted mind games designed to disarm you, confuse you, and ultimately make you the problem. In this video, we're going to dissect 5 of the most corrosive, manipulative questions liars deploy, because once you learn to identify this playbook, you take back all the power. You'll save your time, your emotional energy, and your dignity. This isn't about becoming cynical, it's about becoming clear. When you recognize the pattern, you no longer have to fall for the performance. And as always, I'll feature my favorite comment from our last video at the very end, so stick around to see if you made the cut. Here's our game plan. We'll break down the exact questions liars use to flip the script on you. We'll analyze why these questions seem harmless but are actually manipulation in disguise. I'll show you how to spot them instantly, no psychology degree required, and most importantly, we will discuss how to dismantle them. By the end, you'll know what liar's playbook actually is. You'll be able to hear a manipulator open their mouth and have your brain calmly go, we're running that play now. Cute. So grab your mental armor, we're diving into the psychological jungle where liars roam. So let's get into the arsenal. The first weapon a liar pulls from their holster isn't a statement, it's an accusation disguised as a question. Question number 1. Why are you being so dramatic about this? This one is a Hall of Famer. It's the gold standard of deflection. The scene is simple. You catch them in a lie. Maybe it's a small one, maybe it's a big one. You present clear, undeniable evidence. You weren't aggressive, you were direct. And instead of addressing the issue, they look at you with feigned concern and hit you with that line. Why are you being so dramatic about this? Let's be very clear about what is happening here. This is a brilliant, toxic tactic called reaction baiting. They're deliberately ignoring their action and putting your reaction on trial. Oh, my apologies. Was I using my outside voice to point out your inside lies? The goal is to make you so busy defending the validity of your emotions that you forget to prosecute their deception. It's a verbal magic trick. Look over here at this big dramatic reaction while I hide my lie over there in my other hand. The moment you start saying, I'm not being dramatic, I have a right to be upset because you've lost. You have just stepped into their frame. You have walked right into the liar's circus. They are now the calm, rational ringmaster, and you are the emotional clown. They will use this to rewrite history, telling the story later that you freaked out over nothing. Genuine people discuss the action. Manipulators critique the reaction. Do not fall for it. This brings us to the second and perhaps more emotionally charged question liars love to ask. Question number 2. Do you even trust me? This question is an emotional hand grenade. A liar will pull the pin on this one when they are cornered and have no logical way out. Picture this. You find a receipt that doesn't add up, or you hear a story from them that has more holes than a block of Swiss cheese. You calmly ask for clarification, and instead of providing it, they deploy the ultimate Uno reverse card of emotional manipulation. They look at you wounded and say, "Wow, after everything, do you even trust me?" This is pure emotional blackmail disguised as vulnerability. It's a genius move because it violently shifts the topic. We are no longer discussing their suspicious behavior. We are now in a referendum on your loyalty to them. Suddenly, you're the one on trial for the crime of not being blindly naive. You're put on the defensive, forced to prove you are a good and trusting partner, friend, or colleague, while they gracefully sidestep any and all accountability. There is a fundamental truth of human nature you must absorb. Trust is demonstrated, not demanded. It is built through consistent, honest actions over time. People who are genuinely trustworthy do not need to ask for a vote of confidence when they're caught in a lie. They show you they are trustworthy by being transparent, by owning their mistakes, and by not acting like a cartoon villain trying to escape the scene of the crime. Asking, "Do you trust me?" in the face of evidence isn't a plea for faith. It's a test to see if their manipulation still has power over you. Which leads us directly into their next tactic when emotional blackmail doesn't work. If they can't make you feel guilty for not trusting them, they'll try to make you feel exhausted for confronting them. Question number 3. So, what do you want me to say? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the truth? Would that be too much to ask? This question is so passive-aggressive it should come with its own warning label. A liar uses this phrase to feign utter helplessness. They present themselves as this poor, confused soul who is just too overwhelmed by your accusation to even form a coherent thought. It's the verbal equivalent of a possum playing dead. Let's dissect this. When a person asks, "What do you want me to say?" they are not asking for guidance. They are abdicating all responsibility for the conversation. They are essentially saying, "I am guilty, but I refuse to do the emotional labor of admitting it. Why don't you just write me an apology script? I'll read it and we can pretend this never happened." They want you to tell them the magic words that will make the conflict go away so they can perform the apology, check the box, and move on without an ounce of genuine remorse. A person who is genuinely sorry but struggling for words might say something like, "I don't know what to say right now. I need a minute to process this." That's an adult response. "What do you want me to say?" is a child's response. It is a trap designed to make you the director of their fake apology tour. Do not pick up the script. Now, if playing dumb doesn't work, a manipulator will often pivot to impatience. They hate being under the microscope, and the longer a conversation about their actions goes on, the more the mask begins to slip. This is when they try to prematurely slam the door on the issue. Question number 4. Can we just move on already? No, we can't just move on until you acknowledge the fact that you behaved like a character in a spy movie, except with much lower stakes and a much worse script. A liar's greatest fear is prolonged scrutiny, so they will attempt to rush the healing process by framing you as someone who is dwelling on the past. Don't get this twisted. Moving on is essential for any healthy relationship, but there is a universe of difference between moving on after an issue has been resolved and moving on because one person refuses to resolve it. What they are asking for isn't healing, it's emotional amnesty. They want the peace without the process, the closure without the consequences, the hug without the apology. They want you to sweep their transgression under the rug so they don't have to look at it. The problem is, you're the one who has to live in the house with the lumpy rug, tripping over the very issue they created. Real resolution requires accountability. Skipping it isn't moving forward, it's just letting them get away with it. And that brings us to their final, last resort weapon. This is the one they pull out when they know they are completely cornered. The evidence is overwhelming and their back is against the wall. This is the emotional nuclear option. Question number 5.
Are you really going to throw everything away over this? This question is the masterclass of guilt tripping. Let's analyze the framing. First, they use the word you. Are you going to throw everything away? It positions you as the sole destroyer, the villain of the story who is about to tear down everything you've built together. They, the person who committed the original betrayal, are now just a helpless bystander, watching you light the match. Second, they minimize their action with the word this. Over this? They will say it in a way that makes their massive lie or act of betrayal sound like a forgotten carton of milk in the back of the fridge, a trivial, insignificant thing that only an unreasonable person would get upset about. They are holding the entire history of your relationship hostage to this single event, forcing you into a terrible position. Either you accept their lie, or you are the one responsible for ending everything. It is a desperate, last-ditch effort to make you question your own boundaries. But let me give you a piece of clarity that will cut through that fog of guilt. You're not the one throwing it all away. They are. The person who lies, the person who betrays the trust, is the one who places the bomb in the foundation of the relationship. You're simply the one who is brave enough to point at it and say, "Hey, there's a bomb here." Remember this always. If the price of keeping someone in your life is to betray your own sense of reality and self-respect, then the price is far too high.